The countdown has just ended for last-minute holiday shoppers to cross everything off their lists as most stores are now closed for Christmas. Good evening. It is Christmas Eve and some procrastinators were running around until the very last second to buy everything they need.
Malls across the city were busy today, but last-minute shoppers were feeling festive ahead of the holidays. CTV's Beth McDonnell is outside Yorkdale Mall where she's been speaking with shoppers and joins us now live. Beth, the clock has run out.
That's right, Nathan. And the stores closed at 5 o'clock. That means the parking lot is clearing out. There are still some cars backed up trying to get on the 401. And it really was a last-minute dash for some shoppers trying to find those gifts, while others here at the mall were simply taking in the holiday atmosphere. Last-minute shoppers are feeling festive at Yorkdale Mall.
I like the hustle and bustle. It's part of living in the city. It's part of Toronto. I mean, we just got this big snowstorm, so it just kind of feels like Christmas. That's the whole point of it all, right?
With just hours to go before stores shut, people descended into the shopping center to pick up presents for loved ones. 4-year-old Osar Odion is doing Christmas Eve in style. Are you ready for Christmas?
Yes.
Are you ready for Santa?
Yes.
Renee Raymond has her list. Now she just needs to find her gifts after leaving it all down to the wire.
My mission is just to get whatever I can really quickly and get in and get out before the crowd takes me down.
Even before Yorkdale opened, there were people eager to get into the stores, something the shopping center says is typical here the day before Christmas. The mall says crowds were light in the morning because of the snow, with peak crowds mid-afternoon.
There's always going to be a large amount of last-minute shoppers. The previous weekend had great traffic, and we saw a lot of them coming through our doors, continuing yesterday and through to today.
And while there were a few lineups here and there, the mall wasn't packed.
I think that there are a lot of people in here enjoying the atmosphere, but maybe just doing more looking than shopping.
This is the first time Hanukkah and Christmas have collided in several years.
Time for celebration, spending time with family and friends.
A special time of year whether you're done your shopping or not. The time to shop has run out, so let the holidays begin. Reporting live, I'm Beth McDonnell. Nathan and Pauline, back to you.
Thank you, Beth. Still ahead, giving back on Christmas Eve. Volunteers hit the streets to provide a hearty meal and winter kits to help those in need. We'll have that story a little later in the newscast.
A woman is in hospital with serious injuries after being stabbed downtown this morning. Police were called to a home in the area of George Street and Dundas Street just before 11 a.m. When they arrived, they found a woman suffering from a stab wound to her shoulder. She was taken to hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. A male suspect was spotted leaving the area on foot. Police have not provided a description. They're asking anyone with information to come forward. And a man has been arrested in connection with a fatal shooting earlier this month. 69-year-old Mariano DeMarco was shot and killed outside a home in the area of Fairholme Avenue and Shermount Avenue on December 9th. Now police have arrested and charged 51-year-old Mauricio Guillen with first-degree murder in his death.
Toronto police attended a meeting at the Base Hayamushka Jewish Elementary School after it was hit by gunfire for a third time since May. Shots were fired at the Jewish School for Girls near Dufferin and Finch around 2:30 a.m. December 20th. Police say a command post has been set up at the school. There are also increased patrols and officer visibility at places of worship across the city. Police say there's no evidence to believe the three shootings are connected to one another.
Police have made an arrest in a sexual assault investigation at a subway station earlier this month. It's reported the suspect was on the westbound subway platform of Keele Station when he assaulted a woman, pulled her to the ground and sexually assaulted her. A witness interrupted the assault and the suspect fled on foot. 35-year-old Michael Leclerc of Orleans is facing one count of sexual assault. The victim sustained minor injuries, and police say the victim and suspect did not know each other. And in York Region, a man has been arrested in connection with an attempted vehicle theft in Stouffville. Police say they were called to the area of Ena Lane and Mostar Street shortly after 2 a.m. on December 19th after someone reported a vehicle theft in progress. The suspect ran when officers arrived and was arrested after a short foot pursuit. He was found to be in possession of a key fob programmer device. 27-year-old Rahim Matinjam is facing several charges, including theft of a motor vehicle, possession of break-in instruments, and disguise with intent.
In the lead up to Christmas, charitable organizations across the city are working hard to make sure everyone is cared for.
Today, one group provided a helping hand to those in need with warm clothing and a hearty meal. CTV's Siobhan Morris was on hand this afternoon as volunteers handed out winter kits, and she joins us now live. Hi, Siobhan.
Hi. We've actually seen along Sherbourne all day today a steady stream of volunteers from a number of different organizations stopping by to pass out things like pizza, hot coffee, sandwiches, toiletries. It seems clear from all those organizations that no matter what holiday you celebrate, they want to make sure that everybody is in that spirit of giving.
It's a sign of how great the need has become. Those without a reliable home, a steady source of food, queuing up for a little help on a damp and gray winter's day.
Irrespective of race, religion, politics, we all get cold and we all get hungry, and we all want to give back and ensure that everyone is taken care of as Canadians.
The focus today is on warmth.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Happy holidays.
It comes in kits filled with clothes and blankets to block the bitter wind of the season out.
I was giving the scarves. Oh, yes, I don't have a scarf. Oh, I don't have a sweatshirt. So this is really nice to hear that they don't have it, and they really appreciate it very much.
There's gratitude, too, for at least one hearty meal today.
Hot chicken, hot biscuits, and a drink. We hope that, it'll satisfy and it'll continue to keep them warm.
Volunteers wish they could do more, build connections with more regular visits to the community as they have in the past.
Unfortunately, now we are unable to do it every other because we are short of funding.
A problem deepened by the recent Canada Post strike, as the calls for help to get by have only gotten louder.
It's very hard situations nowadays with the economic situation, and people are suffering, and it's very sad to see this in Canada.
The volunteers we spoke with today hope that Canadians will see this and carry forward that message of warmth and spreading it to their neighbors to take care of each other in this season. Reporting live, I'm Siobhan Morris. Nathan, back to you.
All right, thank you, Siobhan. Time now for a check on the forecast. Here's a live shot of the city. There's a Zamboni at Nathan Phillips Square, just flooding the ice. Cloudy, windy, but much better conditions than yesterday and not nearly as cold as what we've experienced over the past few days. And good news, we're going to have a white Christmas. So if you're going to be tobogganing or sledding tomorrow, conditions are good for that. Or maybe going skating because it will be open, skating rinks across the city. Looking at the current conditions, cloudy, but no active weather. There's a slight chance of some freezing drizzle later tonight, but not too much. Right now, we're above seasonal in most areas, a little bit cooler north of the city, but overall temperatures aren't bad. A slight wind chill, feels like -3 at the island, feels like -6, but it's -1 at Pearson Airport. And tonight is going to dip down to -5. Normal this time of year is -7. So again, we're around seasonal. I'll give you a look at the long-range forecast later on in the show.
All right. 2 people were injured after an SUV and TTC bus collided overnight. The crash happened near Dufferin and Yorkdale Road around 12:30 a.m. 2 people were taken to hospital, but it's not clear if they were on board the bus or in the SUV. The male driver of the SUV was arrested for impaired driving. And a man in his 20s has also been arrested for impaired driving following a 2-vehicle crash in North York. It happened shortly after 12:30 a.m. near Keele Street and Calvington Drive. One person taken to hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries.
Ontario Provincial Police are reminding people to stay sober behind the wheel.
The Festive Ride campaign continues through the holiday season, right through till January 1st, 2025. But since November 21st, when the OPP, along with other police services in Ontario, launched their Festive Ride campaigns, the OPP have already laid 943 impaired driving charges to people operating a vehicle when they should not have been because of alcohol or drug impairment. In addition to that, another 114 people have been taken off the road for registering a warrant range suspension.
And again, 943 impaired driving charges have already been laid as part of the OPP's Festive Ride campaign. And they're reminding people, if you don't drink, or if you drink, don't drive, and if you drive, don't drink.
The Prime Minister is offering his best wishes to Canadians for Christmas. Justin Trudeau issued his annual holiday message today. Here is some of that now.
Hello, everyone. Merry Christmas. This is a time of year to slow down, to rest, and to connect with the people you love most. It's a moment to put our phones down, to put our politics aside, even when that one cousin makes it really hard, and to focus on what matters. For Christians, it's a time to celebrate the birth of Christ and think about his story of kindness, forgiveness, and faith. The lessons of his life are universal, and they inspire and comfort people every time they're told and retold. For so many, the holidays are a time of big family gatherings and feasts, of gifts and celebrations. But maybe it's a very hard time for you. If you're grieving, worried, or alone, this can be the toughest time of the year. It can be the loneliest. So let us all check in on the people in our lives who've not had an easy time this year and who may be needing us more than we know.
Well, Santa will begin delivering presents to Canadian children in just a few hours. So in preparation for his annual trek, Canada's Transport Minister officially authorized St. Nick's travel in Canadian airspace.
Oh, hi, Santa.
Hello, Minister.
I've just received your flight plan, and I'm giving you the green light to take off, Santa.
Oh, thank you. I wish you a very Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho.
Thank you, Santa. Merry Christmas to you, too. And please, stay safe on your journey.
Anita Anand has given Santa clearance because everything that flies over Canadian airspace has to be identified by NORAD, the North American Aerospace Defense Command.
And NORAD's radars in Canada and Alaska are the first to detect the man in the red suit on Christmas Eve. And Canadians can keep an eye on his whereabouts online with the NORAD Santa Tracker.
Started in 1955 really by an accident. We had a colonel that was working on in an operations center, received a call on Christmas Eve from a young child. It was actually a wrong phone number, asking to speak to Santa, and he improvised very well, and we realized that this is information that kids all over the world might need, and so we've been doing it for the 69 years ever since.
NORAD says Santa moves very high and very fast and follows a different time continuum than we do. He also zigzags, never following the same route year to year. But after leaving the North Pole, the Jolly Elf and his reindeer usually head for the international dateline in the Pacific Ocean before moving west. And you can also follow Santa on X at #NORADTracksSanta.
Hong Kong police have issued arrest warrants for 2 Canadian-based pro-democracy activists. They're among 6 people wanted for what authorities describe as national security offenses. CTV's Colton Prail has the details.
Hi, I'm Joe Tay.
Joseph Tay is one of 2 Canadian activists that are the subject of a $185,000 bounty and new arrest warrants from the Hong Kong government. Hong Kong is accusing 6 pro-democracy activists in Canada and the UK of inciting secession and colluding with a foreign country or element to endanger its national security.
To me, the bounty and also the arrest warrant wouldn't stop me from advocating for Hong Kong's freedoms and democracy.
Tay is the founder of Hong Kongers Station and plans on running for the Conservative candidacy in Markham Unionville.
We need to safeguard the Chinese community.
The other Canadian is Victor Ho, a former journalist who held symbolic elections for a Hong Kong parliament in exile in Toronto in 2022. Both men have pushed back against the Chinese Communist Party.
What this says to Hong Kongers in Canada is that if you follow suit, if you use your voice, this will be what happens to you. And a lot of people will be deterred by that, and we cannot have that happen.
Since 2023, Hong Kong has issued 19 arrest warrants against pro-democracy advocates around the world, while imposing lengthy prison sentences on dozens of its own citizens using new national security laws. Activists say Canada and the UK need to respond.
We are really hoping to see that the 2 governments could immediately impose targeted sanctions on Hong Kong officials and Chinese officials who has been abusing human rights of Hong Kongers.
CTV News reached out to the Foreign Affairs Minister and Global Affairs, but neither responded to a request for comment by deadline. Canada previously suspended its extradition treaty with Hong Kong, but activists are calling for it to be fully removed. Colton Prail, CTV News, Ottawa.
Donald Trump has been having some fun trolling Canada in recent weeks, and now one of his sons is getting in on the act. Eric Trump posted this doctored photo on social media platform X. It shows the U.S. president-elect buying our country, Greenland, and the Panama Canal on Amazon. In recent weeks, Trump has referred to Canada as the 51st Street, and he referred to Justin Trudeau as the governor. He has also talked about purchasing Greenland and taking back control of the Panama Canal.
And 2024 was a whirlwind year for the president-elect, including surviving 2 assassination attempts.
Donald Trump capped off the year by securing another 4 years in the White House. CTV's Joy Malbin has more on the year in the U.S. politics.
The 47th President of the United States.
When Donald Trump walked onto that stage at Mar-a-Lago on election night, it marked a comeback for the ages.
We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy?
The twice impeached convicted felon had just retaken the White House.
Former President Donald Trump will be our next president.
What a moment, what a year for Donald Trump.
Free Trump! Free Trump!
He was also fighting for his freedom.
This was a rigged, disgraceful trial.
Now almost all those criminal legal trials over election interference will likely go away.
To break out of the pack.
So confident was Trump, he didn't even bother to debate his Republican challengers.
But we'll get bigger ratings using this crazy forum that you're using than probably the debate.
The former president had just one hurdle.
When you get knocked down, you get back up.
An aging President Joe Biden, convinced only he could take on Trump, the race between some of the oldest contenders in presidential politics.
Eligible for what I've been able to do with.
For Biden, it proved to be a catastrophic mistake.
Dealing with everything we have.
He stumbled, lost his train of thought, and it was seen by millions at their only debate in June.
We finally beat Medicare.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
Thank you. Please be seated.
A few weeks later, at a conference of NATO leaders, Biden called the Ukrainian president,
ladies and gentlemen, President Putin.
Vladimir Putin. The whispers about Biden's age grew louder, so did the pressure for him to step aside.
Take a look at what happened.
And then came this. At a Trump rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, a would-be assassin shot at Trump, killing a supporter and missing the former president by just centimeters. It became one of the most seminal photos in modern American history. Trump seemed unbeatable. Walking on stage days later at the Republican convention with a bandaged ear, hailed as a hero. Less than a week later,
So I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation.
We choose freedom.
in stepped Kamala Harris. Breathing new life and momentum into the party, Democrats seemed unstoppable.
Ours is a fight for the future.
At her debate with Donald Trump,
people can't go out and buy cereal or bacon or eggs or anything else.
The government, and Donald Trump certainly, should not be telling a woman what to do with her body.
And out of nowhere, Trump's false claim about immigrants took on a life of its own.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in, they're eating the cats.
In the end, it didn't matter. What did was frustration over the economy, the border, Trump promising to fix it all, deport millions of undocumented migrants, and rethink support for Ukraine and foreign wars. Trump seized on America's discontent and a country demanding change.
America has given us an unprecedented and powerful mandate. We have taken back control of the Senate. Wow, that's good.
And with a commanding victory and unfettered power, Donald Trump did the near unthinkable.
Trump is the man, and I'm with that, so I got no problem with him being the man that he is.
Stepping toward the next 4 years, president-elect again. Joy Malbin, CTV News, Washington.
And still to come on CTV News, a massive solar probe is set to make history, flying into the sun's outer atmosphere and braving temperatures of more than 1 million degrees.
I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, it's Christmas Eve, and that means many people will be taking a road trip to see family and friends. If you're taking a long drive over the holidays, we have some advice before you hit the road. That story is just ahead.
Well, many people will be hitting the road to see family and friends over the holidays, but driving in the winter can be hazardous depending on the weather.
You'll also want to save money by squeezing every last kilometer out of your gas tank. Pat Foran has some advice before your road trip on Consumer Alert.
If you're packing up the car for a holiday drive, it might be loaded down with presents, but we have a checklist before you go. And auto experts say there are good reasons to always make sure you have at least a half a tank of gas before a winter road trip. The weather can change at any time, and you could get stuck in a snowstorm or behind a serious traffic accident. Two good reasons to make sure you always drive with at least a half a tank of gas.
For both convenience and safety, keep at least half a tank of fuel during cold winter months when there's a risk of shortages.
CAA agrees you should always keep your tank topped up.
If there happens to be some sort of accident or collision on the road that you're traveling and you need to shelter in place, you want to be able to have enough gas so that you can stay warm and get to wherever you're going.
To save money, don't pay for premium gas unless your vehicle requires it. For safety and fuel efficiency, you should always drive evenly and avoid hard acceleration and braking whenever possible. And according to Consumer Reports, that fuel-saving eco button that's supposed to save you gas doesn't do much at all.
We found no fuel economy benefit using eco mode for city and highway driving.
You'll also want to check your tire pressure before hitting the road, as pressure drops as temperatures drop. If you're not sure what your pressure should be, check your door jamb sticker. When getting ready for a winter road trip, you'll want to top up your windshield washer fluid, have a snow scraper and jumper cables, warm blankets, gloves and hats, tea lights and matches, and water and non-perishable food. You also want to make sure you can keep your phone charged in case of an emergency.
We also advocate for making sure that you have a cell phone charger or a power bank, because if your car or battery isn't working, you want to be able to have some power to make sure that you can call for help.
And the holiday season is a busy time, and a survey by Cambridge Mobile Telematics found drivers are more likely to be distracted and speed on Christmas Day and New Year's Day. So if you're on the road, stay safe. Merry Christmas and happy holidays, everyone. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
Well, we have Christmas, we have Hanukkah tomorrow as well. And you know what? Just to celebrate the longer days that we're having now, because the days are getting a little longer, the nights are getting a little shorter, which is a good feeling.
Yeah, that's the great thing, knowing that we had the solstice a few days ago, and roughly every day we get a minute, maybe 2 minutes of a later sunset. Yeah. And I think especially like mid-January, you really start to notice it, especially around 6 o'clock at night when you still have some sunlight. Yeah. That's when you're really, really feeling good. But yeah, that's one of the great things of this time of year. The days get longer. Looking at how things are out, current conditions, there we go. We're above seasonal pretty much everywhere around the province. A bit cooler north of us, but we're pretty much where we're supposed to be. Overnight as well, lows around normal, -5 in Toronto, -10 in Peterborough, -8 in Orillia. There's a bit of a wind chill as well. For tomorrow, we're going to go up to -1. And the good news for kids, it's going to be considered a white Christmas. That technically is what we're going to have. Why? Because we're going to have 2 centimeters of snow on the ground, and that's the official word from Environment Canada. Looking at our satellite radar, we don't have any major systems coming through, just the cloud cover that's going to stick around for a while, and that cloud cover is going to trap in some of the heat that we're going to get. The cold front that we had over a few days that has pretty much moved out of the city south of us. So that's why we've got really warmer temperatures ahead of us. If you're heading to visit family tomorrow, the good news is the roads should be pretty good. Visibility will not be an issue, and the roads should be dry. So that is good throughout the day. Looking at the long-range forecast for tomorrow, Christmas Day, white Christmas. No snow coming down, but that's fine. The high -1. For tomorrow, if you're heading out for Boxing Day to do some shopping, lots of sunshine to look forward to. For Friday, the sun-cloud mix, but look at those temperatures going up. The high 5 on Friday, and then for Saturday and Sunday, the high 8. And for Monday and Tuesday, the high's 6. So well above seasonal. However, we do expect rain pretty much all weekend and into next week. We'll give you a recap of the forecast a little bit later on in the show.
At Vatican City, Pope Francis kicked off the Holy Year today, a jubilee dedicated in 2025 to the theme of hope. The pontiff knocked a few times on the door, and the great holy door of St. Peter's Basilica swung open. During Christmas Eve Mass, he said the Holy Year is an opportunity to bring hope to those less fortunate and to commit to protecting the planet. The year-long Jubilee is expected to draw about 32 million pilgrims to Rome in 2025.
And there were special Christmas greetings from about 400 kilometers above the Earth. The 7 astronauts aboard the International Space Station are in a festive mood.
One of the best things that I like about Christmas is the preparation and just getting ready, the anticipation, everybody getting together and preparing stuff and just getting ready for the holiday. And a couple little things we have here with us to just prepare, which will be sort of fun in a couple days.
The crew offered best wishes to their families back home and to others celebrating the holiday. They also thanked those who support their work. Astronomers will be getting a gift from the sky this Christmas Eve.
A NASA probe is set to zoom past the sun closer than any other spacecraft in history. CTV's John Venevali-Rao has that story.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Launched 6 years ago aboard a massive 23-story rocket, NASA's Parker Solar Probe is designed to do what was once unthinkable: fly into the sun's outer atmosphere, where temperatures can soar to over 1 million degrees.
Very, very hot and a very, very hostile environment. But this is an amazing feat of engineering and science.
Dubbed a mission to touch the sun, on Christmas Eve, the probe is set to break a pair of records, not only getting closer to the sun than any human-made object has before, but also smashing a speed record, cruising at more than 700,000 kilometers an hour.
So it's a really, really close flyby. And of course, the spacecraft will be traveling as fast as it's ever done.
This is what will keep everything on board cool enough to function: a carbon composite heat shield that incredibly will keep the instruments at room temperature. And while the probe has cruised by the sun before, never has it made such a close approach.
To have a spacecraft fly anywhere near that type of an oven is unprecedented.
The sun's outer atmosphere is known as the corona, and mysteriously it's much hotter than the sun's surface.
What an event to witness! Oh my gosh!
It was visible during this year's total solar eclipse across parts of North America.
We've been looking at the sun in an amazing amount of detail for many years, but from a distance. And there's only so much you can learn. And to ultimately get the other pieces of the puzzle, you've got to go where the action is.
Scientists want to learn more about the violent flares and the solar winds, a stream of charged particles emitted by the sun that led to those brilliant displays of the northern lights this year, seen as far south as Florida. Those particles can also disrupt satellites and power grids. Scientists hope to get a signal from the probe on December 27th to let them know if the flyby was a success. And after that, the holiday gift of precious data should start rolling in. John Venevali-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
And still to come, he used to be a star athlete, but a trip to the theater sparked a change in career path for one young actor, now appearing in Moulin Rouge in Toronto. To sports now, and the World Junior Hockey Championship is set to begin on Boxing Day. Ottawa is hosting the annual holiday tournament for the first time since 2009. Canada will hit the ice Thursday night to begin their tournament against Finland, and you can catch all the action on TSN.
WNBA star Caitlin Clark has been named the Associated Press Female Athlete of the Year. Clark won Rookie of the Year after being picked first overall in the WNBA draft. Before that, she led the University of Iowa to the national championship game. Clark is the fourth women's basketball player to be honored as the AP's Female Athlete of the Year since 1931. Olympic gymnast Simone Biles finished second in the voting.
Moulin Rouge, the musical, won 10 Tony Awards on Broadway and is currently entertaining audiences on stage here in Toronto.
And for one of its actors, he was inspired to become a performer when he saw his first play as a child. Now, years later, he's inspiring others. CTV's Andrea Case has his story.
You are the Moulin Rouge.
When Nick Rashad Burroughs was cast as Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec, the artist who created the posters for the cabaret featured in Moulin Rouge, he was thrilled and surprised to be in the musical.
The most surprising thing I've been cast to do is Toulouse-Lautrec. I am usually, I'm usually like a first tenor and like dancing around, and this role, Toulouse-Lautrec, has really challenged me in a way where I have to use a lower register of my voice and different accents a French accent. I've never gotten the opportunity to do that before. It's really challenged me in an amazing way that has taught me a lot about myself.
Born in Birmingham, Alabama, the former athlete quit sports after seeing his first stage show, Ain't Misbehaving, and saw people who looked like him on stage.
When you find your passion, I hope every single person finds their passion, because I had no idea I wanted to be an actor until I saw it, was like, oh, let me try that, and then there was something in me, something so big that it stayed this long since I was a kid. So it was what made me want to be an actor, is realizing that I could.
And for Burroughs, acting can also be therapy.
One of the cool things about being an actor and a storyteller is when we, in our own personal lives, experience things that are tough and things that are challenging, and then we are blessed enough to play a character that like has to go through that similar thing, but like has a voice and has a strength. It like makes you work through your own things while you're working through that character's same situation on stage.
If you come to the CAA at Mirvish Theater, you might want to check this out. This is the Tony Award Moulin Rouge the Musical won in 2019-2020 for Best Musical. Moulin Rouge the Musical is on stage now until January 12th at the CAA at Mirvish Theater. Andrea Case, CTV News.
My mission is just to get whatever I can really quickly and get in and get out before the crowd takes me down.
Updating our top stories, last-minute shoppers were out in force today scouring stores for Christmas gifts as time wound down. This is the first time in years that Christmas and Hanukkah are happening at the same time.
Irrespective of race, religion, politics, we all get cold and we all get hungry, and we all want to give back and ensure that everyone is taken care of as Canadians.
A charitable organization in Toronto provided food and warm clothing for those in need today. Kits containing blankets, scarves, and other items were given out. Organizers say they wish they could do more often, but a funding shortage makes it very difficult.
What this says to Hong Kongers in Canada is that if you follow suit, if you use your voice, this will be what happens to you. And a lot of people will be deterred by that, and we cannot have that happen.
Two Canadian-based pro-democracy activists are wanted by Hong Kong police, and all warrants have been issued for 6 people accused of what authorities describe as subversion and collusion with foreign forces.
Remember to keep up to date day and night at ctvnewstoronto.ca and by downloading the CTV News app. And if you have a news tip, photos, or video breaking news, let us know.
One street in the city has truly got into the spirit of Christmas this season. Most residents on Inglewood Drive near Mount Pleasant and St. Clair were taking part in the annual tradition of putting up large inflatable Santas on their front lawns. The area has been dubbed Kringlewood as a result of the tradition. The street receives many visitors during the holiday season to check out the decorations.
The folks that started actually were our neighbors on this side. They're not there anymore. A delightful woman named Amy had the idea that
maybe the neighborhood wasn't as exciting or culturally interesting or, I don't know, artsy as it could be. So she did the first one. By the time we moved in, I think there were probably only 12 or 14. Now, I don't know. You guys have just been down the street, 75 maybe, I think, something like that. It just kind of caught on, which is great.
The Kringlewood Santas will stay up for viewing throughout the holidays.
Well, a museum in Quebec is paying homage to the traditions of Christmases past.
It's offering a glimpse into how people marked the holidays many years ago. CTV's Denise Roberts has more.
In all the hustle and bustle of the holidays, the Greenwood Center for Living History in Hudson is hosting a different kind of Christmas. You won't find flashing lights or tinsel on this tree. The decorations are handmade and in some cases edible. It's the work of many volunteers, including Catherine Lamb, who wanted to find a way to celebrate the season and help maintain this nearly 300-year-old home.
That we had this beautiful locale filled with historic and lovely artifacts, and we thought, what if we tried to decorate Christmas, Greenwood for Christmas in a way that it would have been done in the early years.
The committee researched Victorian Christmas decorations, things like dried orange slices that look like stained glass, and boughs of foraged greens to adorn the sills and mantels. There are also candles and bows and antique toys under the tree. The simplicity is in stark contrast to the consumerism and excesses of the season, according to Lamb.
You know, we need a little respite for that. We need real things, real music, real smells, real things to look at.
This old-fashioned way of celebrating Christmas attracts visitors each year. The event helps raise funds to keep the museum going. Carolers sing and fiddlers play. There are also cookies and hot apple cider. Executive Director Sandy Rassico says the experience transports visitors to a simpler time.
Perhaps this is a reminder that it's not all about all the shopping and all the stress of Christmas, that when you just sit down for a little bit in the silence and you look around and you listen to things in a more calm way, that you can allow yourself to be like a child again and be excited about Christmas.
She says it's not an exhibit, but an experience, one that changes people and causes them to reconsider some of their own traditions.
I think by visiting Greenwood, you get a sense of what it was like in the past, but perhaps how you could change your Christmas a little bit in the future to make it more original, more special.
Taking some cues from Christmas past to savor the season. Denise Roberts, CTV News.
Christmas music's been playing in stores and homes across the city for weeks now, ahead of the big day tomorrow.
And now a pair of local musicians are adding some Caribbean flair to some holiday classics. CTV's Carol Charles has the story.
Consider this basement studio Joy and Larnell's workshop. Both accomplished musicians, Larnell has been playing drums since the age of 2. His foundation of learning was church.
When I play the drums, there's this energy and electricity, and it's kind of like this wind that's kind of passing through my arms.
Joy began playing the steel pan 20 years ago. Again, the church is where she got her start.
I love it. I love steel pan because I think I love playing live music. I love playing with other musicians and being able to have a conversation.
Joy and Larnell developed the Caribbean Christmas Mixtape Volume 1 through live performances as part of Toronto's Jazz FM 91 annual concert series. From live performances, they captured their sound and released it on vinyl and CD. The goal, to add some Caribbean flair to traditional, yet very familiar Christmas songs.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun.
So you'll hear Edelweiss on there. Julie Andrews, Christopher Plummer. This is something that's been handed down from our parents, and it stays with me. I know all the words. Sound of Music, all the words.
Quand tu descendras du ciel.
Petit Papa Noel, Old Toy Trains, allows me to reflect on my childhood and my love for Zouk music.
Songs which were played over and over in their households, surrounded by a musical multi-instrumental family. They were introduced to diverse Caribbean genres including Zouk, soca, calypso, reggae, R&B, and gospel, gleaned from their roots in Antigua and St. Kitts.
Growing up in my house, my dad had a cassette tape that he recorded all of his arrangements of Christmas carols, and we listened to that every Christmas.
Our daughter walks around singing our version of Sleigh Ride, and then she'll sing the horn part.
They even tried to teach me a few notes. Joy and Larnell have been working on this album since 2021, and they are proud of the final product.
I want people to be excited. I would love people to feel the warmth from the music, feel that genuine spirit of togetherness.
We've been married for 14 years, and it's actually just a joy. It's a joy. It's a joy to be able to create with him.
Joy and Larnell encourage family and friends to celebrate the holidays with music, joy, and laughter, especially during Christmas time. Carol Charles, CTV News.
All right, such a great story. We're going to give you one last look at the forecast. Things are pretty good outside. If you've got plans tonight to maybe go skating, rinks are open tonight and tomorrow. Bear that in mind. Looking at our satellite radar, nothing much to talk about. No real systems coming in, just some cloud cover. Right now, we're above seasonal in most areas, -1 in Toronto, -1 in Hamilton, and +1 in Niagara Falls. Looking at the long-range forecast for Christmas Day, it's going to be a white Christmas, good for the kids, especially if you got plans. If you're going to drive, the roads are going to be good as well. No snow is going to be coming down, at least fresh snow. For Thursday, if you got plans to maybe take advantage of some deals, sunshine's expected. And then for Friday, notice the temperature is moving up to a high of 5 degrees. And then for Saturday and Sunday, highs of 8 degrees. There's the chance of showers. Even the lows are well above seasonal. As the cold air moves out, the warm air moves in. And then for Monday, there's a chance of showers, the high of 6. And for Tuesday, again, showers are expected, the high 6 degrees. So we do have a bit of a warm-up coming over the next few days. But again, a white Christmas tomorrow.
Nice. And be sure to tune in tonight at 11 o'clock for CTV National News. CTV Toronto will be back on Boxing Day with CTV News at 6.
Meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.